So there's been a rumor going around that gratitude can make your life better, having some sort of gratitude practice.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
The question is, can it make your memory better? Well, the answer is absolutely 100% yes, and I can prove it. That's coming right up. So what is this thing, gratitude practice, that's storming the internet? It's really quite simple. You take some time every day and you practice gratitude. And there's different levels of doing it. You can just be mentally gracious to whatever you have in your life, or you can write things down and have a gratitude list practice, which is really just the same thing as doing it mentally, but you're putting it down on paper. And Richard Weissman in 59 Seconds gives some great scientific evidence that demonstrates the validity of the claim that writing will make you happier, writing your gratitude list down. And why that is something that you can look into by reading that book. All the research data is there, compiled for you. It's very, very fascinating, and a great book as well. And then the other thing that you can do is sort of do a combined writing down your gratitude list and then using your mind to strengthen what you've written down there. And this is fantastic because you're not just mindlessly writing out a list 1 to 10. Oh, I'm grateful for water, I'm grateful for food, I'm grateful for having a roof over my head, etc. But then you think about the water. You think about the processes by which water is miraculously delivered to you through pipes and tubes. And then you think about all the things that go into making that happen, the city infrastructure, the fact that some people on the planet got together. As much as people like to gripe and moan and whine and complain about, government and yada yada yada, think about it. How extraordinary it is that human beings have managed to get together to such an extent that pipes can send water, drinkable water, if you're fortunate enough, to your home so you can have some of it. That is being grateful, sitting down, writing down water, but then pausing for a second to think of all the amazing things that had to take place in order for that to happen day in and day out, and all the miraculous things that need to continue to happen. So that is one way that you can bring the two together. It's not just writing down your gratitude, but then pausing to think. And it doesn't matter how many times you do it, you can still experience the benefits of the gratitude there. And the thing is no matter what's going on in life, no matter how terrible you feel, no matter what troubles you're facing, the fact that if you just sit there and think about how amazing water coming into your home is, you have a pretty hard time being upset or stressed out or anything like that if you really, really sink into the gratitude practice of being legitimately grateful for how amazing that is. So those are sort of 3 ways you can do it. Just thinking about the things you're grateful for, writing them down, or writing them down and thinking about them, and extending it to its nth degree, to its most ridiculous ends. Go deeper. You can go deeper. You can be grateful for the fact that we are living on a dying star, and something about the process of the dying of the star leads to gases being released in a particular way that create a chain of chemical reactions that leads to the gases condensing in whatever way that comes back down to the earth, and then the water forms into oceans whatever. I'm not a geographer, but you could go even further, and you could be grateful that there's a universe itself, and then think all the way back to the Big Bang. James Joyce somewhere in Finnegan's Wake talks about dialing all the way back to Adam. So you can do that kind of stuff and really go deep, and it's interesting and helpful. Now the memory question is, how is this helpful for memory? Well, one of the things is whenever you take up a daily practice, then you need to remember to do it on a daily basis. And having something that you need to remember to do is itself rewarding for your memory. So I like to use the Freedom Journal. I'm now using the Mastery Journal. If you want to grab a Freedom Journal, I think a good run with that first before upgrading to the Mastery Journal is a great idea. I recommend you grab one through my special link, which is magneticmemorymethod.com/TFJ, which is for the Freedom Journal. And if you have that in your home, in places where you absolutely cannot forget to fill it out, right, then you're going to get this kind of memory trigger that goes on and on and on, and then you're going to get the benefit of having your memory to do something constantly triggered, because it'll get into basically Pavlovian conditioning, which is a memory phenomenon that you can experience, and the more that you experience it, then the more that you are observing yourself and observing how your memory works, and how that some things in memory just go into a kind of autopilot place. So it absolutely benefits your memory. The other thing is if you're using a written journal, then you'll see progress over time. You'll see that the things that you're grateful for create patterns, and those patterns will trigger your memory as you analyze and assess them and begin to create a relationship with the things that you're grateful for, why you're grateful for them. And then if you go to the most absurd ends of your gratitude practice, you'll start seeing that you're being grateful for some pretty obscure and interesting things, and you'll remember your journey to getting there, because you'll see it constantly affirmed on the page. And then the other thing is that diary making, and this is another thing from 59 Seconds, is people tend to have a different experience of time when they are regular journalers. And I found this for myself. I find that, so many people, they are running around, pressed for time. They constantly say they don't have time, they don't have time, they don't have time. And, that's true. I don't have time either. I'm just as same 24 hours as everybody else. But I feel I've developed a very, very different relation to time. And here's the thing. Time and memory are the same thing.
What I was able to see in terms of the velocities and the altitudes appeared quite similar to the way we had carried out the last 100 or 200 feet in many of our simulations.
Memory takes place in time, and time is the place that memory takes place. I mean, I'm trying to make some sort of a tautological circle here. I don't know exactly how to express it, but there is no other place in which memory takes place. So if I were to mention the name 59 Seconds, well, that's accessing my memory, right? And the time that it is taking place is in the moment that I am accessing that to reconstruct the title of that book. And of course, I'm also reconstructing a lot of other things, like perhaps I can reconstruct the name of the author, which is Richard Weissman, and so on and so on. And it's happening in time, and so you get a different relationship to time. And the more that you journal, the more that you write down. And I like to journal my dreams more than anything, but gratitude journaling is just a very quick way to tell a story about your life, one that gives you a different relationship to time, and then just changes the nature of your memory, because when you change the way you think about things, the things that you think about change, and then how those things actually are in the world tends to change a little bit too. So it really, really opens things up for yourself. So can gratitude and having a gratitude practice improve your memory? Absolutely, I think it can. And if it doesn't improve it, it will certainly make it deeper, more meaningful, and give you a different relationship to it than you may have considered possible. So what do you think? You think you might want to give this a try? I certainly hope so. It's one of the most rewarding things that I've done. I started basically around 2009 when I first read 59 Seconds, which I read right around the time that I also read Richard Weissman's The Luck Factor, and also an incredible book that has a journaling aspect to it. And you can certainly combine the two together and have in your daily gratitude journaling a little section about luck, and be grateful for the luck that you have, because not everybody, and maybe even some people watching this video, they don't have running water, right? But you do, probably, if you're watching this video, and so that's a very lucky thing indeed, and you can be grateful for that in and of itself, and recognizing it as luck, identifying it as luck, and remembering all the situations in your life that it connects to in a lucky way, because you are very fortunate. Then you can access your memory and practice your memory and deepen your memory just by thinking of all the things that connect to that. So take water, for example, as a gratitude exercise. Now, we talked about, the absurdity of going in back to the Big Bang, or just thinking about the governmental processes that make it all possible, and all the people that must be involved and showing up to work and so forth to make this possible, and that they have to be organized and communicate with one another and not be at war with each other and so forth in order to make it happen that you turn on a tap and water comes out. But you can also think of all the places where in your memory you remember water. Like I think of my elementary school, for example. Well, there were particular places in that school where there were water towers that you could go to and turn the faucet and drink water. And then in high school, there were particular ones. And now I'm hanging out a lot here at the campus of QUT in Brisbane, and there are different water towers in the library that I'm about to go into. And these are all not just memory as such, but this is spatial memory, and you can practice your spatial memory by using this gratitude exercise, because the things that you are grateful for have a space. They have a place, not just in time, but also in the world, right? And so you can practice your spatial memory and your temporal memory by linking the two together and doing some personal excavation of your life and thinking deeply about those locations. And there's a lot more what you can do with locations, and I teach that in the Magnetic Memory Method free video course, Memory Palace Mastery, as it's sometimes called. And there's 4 of those videos. It'll teach you how to create memory palaces. And if you can think about 4 or 5 places where you've had some water and that you're grateful for them, well, then you can create memory palaces out of those places in a very simple process, and then use those memory palaces to learn and remember and recall anything that you want through a process of encoding. And it's not really rocket science. It's not very difficult to do. You just got to dive in. I give you an exercise that shows you exactly how to do it. And I've had thousands of emails from people who do those exercises, and they have incredible adventures as a result. And it's amazing. And you know what? I'm grateful for every single person who goes through that video course, and it's free. So all you got to do to get it is go to magneticmemorymethod.com/YT. And I think you're going to enjoy it a great deal. And I thank you. I'm grateful for you watching this video. And until we have a chance to speak again, keep that gratitude flowing and keep yourself magnetic.